What is up, pricks? Jedi Mind Prick here again today, bringing you another video about psychedelics. This one's going to be a little different. This one is actually going to be about the time mushrooms saved my life. Now that may be a very dramatic phrase, but when you hear my story and hear the experience that mushrooms brought me in a very dark period in my life, then you may think the same. So this video is going to be essentially about a mushroom trip that I had when I was going through an opioid detoxification, and how essentially it helped me in the long run get over everything and move on with my life and see the connections that I was losing, and really open my eyes to the things that I was losing out on in life because of my addiction. Basically, there's going to be some talk about redwood trees, there's going to be talk about the mushrooms themselves, the trip itself, and finally how it all helped me in the end, and how I'm opioid free today. So you guys stay tuned. Okay guys, so I've been putting off making this video since I started the channel. It's been on my mind since I started my channel, but basically it's just an embarrassing time in my life, a very troublesome and dark time in my life where I don't much like talking about, but hopefully talking about it today, like I said, can open some minds, maybe open some eyes, and really define mushrooms in a different way than just some type of party, recreational, trippy drug, and really consider it more of a medicine. I'm going to dive into the opioid addiction part and then kind of run along with the story about the trip, the experience, and everything after that. So my addiction really started out of a pure recreational sense. I started taking opioids, in particular morphine, which is a very strong opioid, purely to calm my mind down. I'm a very overactive thinker. I took opioids. It was really able to calm my mind down and really just kind of one-track myself. It slowed everything down, really kind of allowed me to slow down in a sense and take a look at things in ways I'd never had before. But the problem with that became the chemical, it became the mental, it became the addiction that I didn't want it to. And I didn't mean for it to go that far, but morphine is a very powerful one, and it just took over my life. Up in the morning, drink a cup of coffee with half a pill, go throughout most of the day into the evening, take the other half of the pill. I'd go to sleep thinking about it, wake up thinking about it, and no one knew too, which was the worst part. So I just was losing my connection to everyone. I was losing my connection to my passions, the things I really love to do. So I knew I had to stop, and I knew I had to stop quick. So I just up and decided to start detoxing and fasting and just trying everything I could to really stave off this issue that I knew if I let it continue, it was about a year in, if I knew I let it continue, I knew it would have taken over my life, and things would have really gotten bad. I'm halfway through my detoxification. I was about a week into it, maybe 2 weeks into it, and really that's just the chemical detox. Okay, the mental, what I like to call mental detox, it takes several months. But about a week into my detoxing, my fasting and stuff like that, I was craving it, and I was like, what am I going to do? How am I going to stave this off? And I had some psilocybin laying around, so, and it was actually in the form of a chocolate bar. So I was like, you know what, screw it. It was late at night. I had 6 hours to myself, so I was just like, all right, let's do this, let's just, it hit me very hard. It's, the time it took to take effect was really about 10 minutes, and it hit me very fast, hit me very solid, and it was just like and if anybody's experienced mushrooms before, can tell you about kind of the wave effect it has on your body. It'll bring you up, and then you kind of slowly feel like you come, and then you go back up, and it is literally like riding a wave for about 6 hours. And so this is where the details come in, to where it really started to open my mind and take effect, to grab hold of what I was going through and really push it to the surface. I was watching, in particular, a documentary, and the documentary was about the redwood tree. connection actually that the redwood trees had to the ocean. And you may think, what the hell does that have to do with the beats me, dude? I don't know. So it talked about salmon in the ocean and how they spawn upstream back to where they were born. And now essentially what happens is that salmon carry a very rare form of nitrogen. Okay, and when they're carried upstream, of course, the animal life bears, things like that, take them out of the river, eat them, their carcasses, those things start to decay and release actually nitrogen into the soil, into the ground, which mycelium things start to break up, and which mycelium is mushrooms. Essentially, it is what mushroom fruits sprout from, and so the mycelium breaks it down and feeds it to these massive redwood trees, and that's the reason why the redwood trees get so large. Is that connection? It's from fish to tree. How important that connection is. How through that connection gives us importance, and at that very moment during this chaotic trip where I was just riding this wave and colors and things are shaping and forming and vines are growing on my TV as I'm watching this video, but I realized that I was losing the connection to earth. I was losing my passions. I was losing the reasons why I love to wake up in the morning. I was losing all the things that made me me, in the sense I was losing that connection, that importance. And from that moment on, not only the fact that it was 6 hours of not really having to think about ingesting opiates, brought everything that to the surface, that the reasons why I had this addiction, and the reasons why I had to wake up thinking about opiates, and the reasons why I had to go to sleep thinking about them, and bring it. It's very hard for a sober human to bring all that to the surface, because your mind really wants to create those natural blocks in order to prevent us from being further hurt, but our subconscious doesn't realize that those things need to be brought to the surface and they need to be dealt with. And if you push them to the back of your mind, it's just like putting a band-aid on it, and it is going to resurface. What psychedelics do, and mushrooms and say DMT and stuff in particular, is they break down those barriers and allow everything to surface. Okay, it breaks down those ego layers and allows everything that's troublesome or that you need to really dive into about yourself, and it just alleviates all that. It was my trip. Now I want to say too that wasn't the end. Okay, that was not the end. I still had a couple weeks of detoxing, which if anyone knows who's gone through detox, it's cold sweats, hot sweats, sleepiness, like sleepiness when you're trying to be awake, and just awake feeling when you're trying to be asleep, and not only that, but that burning sensation of I need opiates in the back of your mind, and at any second it could just crumble everything to the ground. After that, it's mental. You don't feel the same after a few months. You're trying to regain those connections. So it's a very hard process, and like I said, mushrooms didn't cure it by some extreme means. Help me alleviate the reasons, or at least bring to the surface the reasons why I had the initial addiction, and what I was losing in that process. Okay. Alright guys, so that's my report. That's my experience. That's part of my life. Like I said, I really don't like to talk about, but in doing so, I hope that I reach a few people, or at least open up a few minds. Psilocybin can be a very powerful medicine if we allow it to be, and because it is illegal, because it is looked at with such dull eyes and looked at as a party drug, or like something that you just trip with a bunch of your friends on the weekends while drinking beers and shit, but that's not the case. There are a huge number of medicinal benefits with psilocybin, one of them being addiction, and I think there are a lot of other instances, scientific or otherwise, that relate to my story as well. So I hope this video today could open some of your eyes and maybe just enlighten some people who didn't know that psilocybin could be used as medicine. So anyways guys, if you enjoyed the video, like and subscribe, and I will see you fuckers next time. Jedi Mind Prick out. Peace.